to unskillful bent. So you may or may not know this about yourself, that you might have a kind of default response to a stressor in your life. And you probably, or I'll speak for myself, I have a whole toolkit of unskillful responses to stressors in my life. You know, if somebody looks at you funny and you freeze up, or if somebody, you know, says something and you're like instantly 0 to 100 or even 0 to 50, you know, these are really helpful kind of indicators that something's going on for you there. And one of the great things about meditation practice is that you start to get sensitive to your internal landscape. You know, you start to get sensitive to the feeling of the breath and the body and what's going on for you. So less and less over time, you do that thing where someone's like, "Are you mad?" And you're like, "No." "Oh, well, I wasn't, but now," you know, you're like, "Oh, something's going on for me. What's going on?" And you can kind of, you have practiced present moment body awareness long enough that you're like, something's going on, and you start to get intimate. Ooh, I know this feeling. I'm getting activated. This is aversion. This is anger, or this is clinging, or this is fear. You know, you start. So anyway, this person asks a very skillful question. As someone whose go-to is clinging and grasping, what is a good practice for me? Is gratitude a part of this? So everybody's unskillful go-to is clinging and grasping, according to that guy. And this, I think what they meant by this question is, I'm not sure, but it seems like maybe they're thinking about clinging, grasping in terms of like one of the three poisons, like clinging, like trying to find something good or pleasing in a situation. Like the classic is, you know, the way I like to add a chocolate brownie on top of a difficult day because that'll make it better. That's me trying to pleasure seek, trying to self-soothe in that way. And some people are the opposite. They're aversive types. They come under stress and they're like, I'm ready to go to war. Who needs it? I'm ready. These hands are rated E for everybody. Let's do this. Like, and that happens internally as well. You know, we have something going on for us, and I'm like, ooh, you know, I want to self-soothe somehow. I take a deep breath, and I'm like, doesn't the breath feel nice when I'm actually just distracting myself? So, in answer to your excellent question, I don't know nearly enough about you as a person to answer this with any kind of accuracy or helpfulness. Every single person within the sound of my voice is the world's leading expert on themselves. But I will say that one of the amazing parts of the Buddha Dharma, one of the amazing facets of the Buddha Dharma isn't necessarily, and if this is going over your head or is a little too much Buddhism for your meditation on a Monday night, please excuse me, but it works on the cushion as well. One of the wonderful things about the Buddha's teachings isn't just that he's saying, hey, I'm noticing you're attaching and clinging to things, and then when there's something you don't like in your life, you're pushing it away and making it a lot more solid and causing a lot more distortion and activation than you normally would. Maybe you could just rest. That's great, and that's a beautiful therapeutic technique. But there's a deeper layer. The old man is saying something far more radical. The old man is saying, you may be fabricating this whole thing. You may be, call me crazy, but when we come into a stressful situation, our whole brain chemistry and body chemistry shifts. And I don't know if this is definitely me, but I'm always shocked that people can tell when I'm activated. They're like, I'm like, how do you know? Well, have you seen my face? But so one of the amazing things about the Dharma is that the Buddha is saying, one of the things he's saying is not only, hey, maybe don't cling to, maybe don't make it a thing, whatever the thing is. But maybe there's no things at all. Maybe we have habitual tendencies around experiences in our life, and we construct this whole drama. Maybe see how deep that goes for you. So the question is, what is a good technique? And they ask, is gratitude a skillful technique? Gratitude is always beautiful, because gratitude directly works against our habitual negativity bias. So just noticing what's good in the moment. Maybe it's the breath. Maybe it's a flower in your field of vision. Maybe it's a memory of a kindness that someone has rendered to you, or vice versa. And that's really skillful. But that's on the level of technique, right? And that's great. But there's also something deeper. Maybe this thing that I've decided is a certain way, like all words and signs and symbols, is actually empty of any inherent meaning. Maybe I can practice being non-reactive, open, vulnerable, and available to my own experience and what is arising. Maybe there's a lot more freedom there. Anyway, just to bring it down to the level of practice, like we're about to do, whatever arises is not your enemy. And this is hard sometimes, especially being a soft-bodied, vulnerable primate living on a ball of dirt orbiting a hydrogen star. Because life and death are scary. Injuries are scary. But I just want to invite you into a question of, could I meet whatever is arising with kindness? You don't have to like it. Can you stay open and vulnerable? At Pride, this guy was screaming at me that I was, God hates me and I'm going to hell and this and that. And I just thought it was hilarious and kind of adorable. It didn't hit me at all. It found nowhere to land. Now trust me, tomorrow at work, if somebody looks at me cross-eyed, especially my boss, I'm going to freak the hell out. Mm-hmm. But I just want to invite you into this understanding that things that arise, situations that arise, sensations that arise, thoughts, feelings, people, they are all empty of intrinsic meaning. They're all empty of intrinsic designation. You can just, or maybe you can just practice being open and available to your experience in the given moment, like we do on the cushion, like we're going to do right now.